a cool down is coming over the next week or week and a half, especially for areas of the Corn Belt region with below average temperatures expected. Taking a look at the mid-level heights, we can see troughing, which is the blue color, showing up into portions of Canada, into the northern areas of the plains or so. As this pushes east, we will see multiple cold fronts dive southeast to the Midwest, not very strong, but strong enough to get below average temperatures down to the Corn Belt region, with above average temperatures for much of the plains and including the northern plains as well, which this has troughing showing. And then looking at some of the ridging that is starting to develop into the western portions of the country next week, this will be a big thing to watch out for as we move into the second week of August, because this may bring an increase in severe weather potential as well. As we move into the second week of August with that northwest flow around. But as we move further into next week or so, we see that western troughing continuing to expand as we move through next week or so, with the troughing starting to go away at this point, with again a pretty warm look for ridging as we move into next weekend or so. Again, so a pretty brief cool down coming, but it will be cool enough to get lows and down to up maybe the 50s at times, but mostly 60s with highs in the 70s to low 80s for the most part. And then as we move into the second week of August, we see some trough and some ridging continuing to show up into the western portions of the country, with some troughing showing up into the northeast areas of the country. So again, a dominating northwest flow looks likely through the first half of August and maybe even further into August. This may bring increased potential in complexes of thunderstorms if we can get enough forcing to happen. Increase in weather. I mean, you can even talk about long-lived wind events maybe as we move to August as well. But it does look like a pretty dry August because of this northwest flow. But a decent cooldown coming, as you can see by the European model, for the temperatures compared to average. As we move into the first week of August, it looks like that we will have again below average temperatures for much of the Corn Belt areas, with above average temperatures for portions of the plains states, maybe into the upper Midwest as well. Taking a look at the middle of the winds as we move into the first half of August or so, again you can see this dominant northwest flow, but maybe when you have areas of a short wave pushing into the Midwest into the first half of August, the short waves could produce some severe weather. And given that it is a northwest flow, that will increase the chance for more of a damaging wind event rather than a tornado event as well. That's what it seems like that will likely happen through the first half of August. But again, a pretty dry August overall. We can take a look at the precipitation compared to average. We have a pretty dry. Half the country looks to be pretty dry overall. It seems so. Again, pretty quiet pattern ahead, with cool temperatures and then likely warming back up as we move into the middle of August. Throughout today, we will continue to have a plume of convection push through the eastern portions of the country today and into tomorrow with a slow moving system. This is by, around sunrise tomorrow morning. We still have showers hanging around for portions of Iowa, Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan, down to Indiana and Missouri as well. So again, scattered showers throughout the rest of today and into tomorrow morning, with additional rainfall totals of maybe up to another inch to an inch and a half in some areas. Now for today, about mid to late afternoon, maybe into the early evening time frame, we may have isolated to scattered severe thunderstorms for portions of southeast Iowa, eastern Missouri, and into portions of Illinois, because a dry air slot is punching in right now up into Iowa in these areas ahead of a boundary where these storms will develop on. This is bringing in dry weather until over the next couple of hours, but also an increase in moisture at dew points into low 70s, and just a warmer temperatures in general with some breaking in the clouds. This may allow for a couple of spin up tornadoes in any of these thunderstorms from southeast Iowa, Cedar Rapids areas, all the way down to Davenport, down into Missouri, and into Illinois as well. There will also be a chance for damaging wind gusts. There's a lot of winds aloft, and if that can mix down to the surface We could have damaging downdraft winds in any thunderstorms that can develop and mature. But again, we are not expecting a outbreak or anything today, but a few severe thunderstorms with a day that has an easy potential to produce a spin up tornado too will be possible for southeast Iowa, down to Missouri, and portions of Illinois and any of these showers. But as we move into this evening time frame, by sunset, we should start to see the severe weather threat go down quite a bit. Because either way, today has a limited moisture, a limited storm fuel. Anyways, with Cape Valley staying under 2,000 in many areas because of the morning rain and limited sunshine today. But being that is still summertime, you can still get enough storm fuel to get a few severe thunderstorms even without sun happening all day or having rain in the morning time frame. But again, a pretty messy setup today. Still a chance for a couple of rotating thunderstorms that may produce a couple of weak tornadoes and damaging winds with an isolated chance for large hail as well. You can see this nose of a more unstable warm sector pushes into Iowa through this afternoon time frame with dew points nosing up into low 70s up into Iowa and ahead of this boundary where these storms will develop on. Again, it's a pretty narrow warm sector, so storms won't be severe for a long time or be able to be as intense for a long period of time, with dew points dropping down to the low 60s the further east you go. So again, a pretty small corridor of a favorable warm sector to get severe thunderstorms to happen in at any time. But it looks like that we do have some sun popping out ahead of this boundary. There's a few areas of sunshine just popping in because of the dry air slot. The boundary is placed right here right now, west of I-35, with at least partly cloudy skies, at least some breaks in the sun, pushing northeast up into eastern Iowa as well. So again, a more favorable setup compared to yesterday, it seems, for later today, but it still looks like we're gonna have a pretty low end threat of severe weather later today. But definitely more sunshine than we thought, yesterday or so. So I feel like that this needs to be said a bit more than I guess yesterday, as it looks like, with a lot of rain showing up into southern Minnesota right now, and further east into Wisconsin and Illinois. Portions of eastern Iowa picked up about 2 to 2.5 inches of rain over the last several hours. Well, over the overnight hours time frame. But further west had less rain than forecasted because of the dryer pushing in sooner than expected, or I mean it's dry air anyways. Didn't even expect it to move in so quick to begin with. But now it is a different setup today with a slight risk for weather up into southeast Iowa. The main corridor, it looks like, will likely stay into northern Missouri, but there will be a chance for weather up into southeast Iowa as well, as that warm sector just continues to nose northeast into Iowa. Here's a current look at the dew points. Right now, we would have dew points of 71, 72, even 74 dew points in southeast Iowa, pushing northward as well. So, again, a pretty favorable setup, it appears, for at least a few severe thunderstorms that may produce a few tornadoes later today.